Very good morning, guys. The last few classes I explained about the chapter number 4, that is gender, caste and religion. In the previous class, we studied about the concept of communalism. How communalism is a hindrance to the country. What is communalism? A religious clash or the clash or conflict between the two religious groups, that is called communal clash. The communalism is worst because communalism we start hating people who are within our own country just because they belong to a different religion. We are proud that India is a motherland for several major religions. In the previous class I asked you to answer the questions which is related to the religious symbols. Means you can see religious symbols are here. Try to understand or try to get answer that to which religion these symbols belong. This of course you may be knowing. This is also, these are popular religious symbols. Means in number I am speaking, and these two please try to understand. Let us move further. That is how communalism takes ugly turn in the politics. So what we are going to study today, how communalism take a different shape in our politics. Means how communal expressions create problem in a country because of the involvement of political parties. Point number 1. Religious prejudice, stereotypes of religious communities and beliefs in the one's own religion over the other. What is the first point discussed here? That is religious prejudice. What is called prejudice? Prejudice is our thought process on a particular aspect without understanding the reality. Take for example, if I say Africa, the first thing which comes to your brain is Africa is a backward continent. There may be some countries in Africa, of course there are some countries in Africa, they are far better than other countries in Europe or Asian continent. So the moment we say Africa, then we have that prejudice. So religious prejudice means we consider certain religions, certain religious practices are bad. The moment we consider certain religious practices bad and keep that thought in our brain, the moment you keep this pre-assumed thoughts, pre-assumed means without understanding the reality or the real picture, you are concluding. That is called pre-assumption or prejudice. So once you have a prejudice, then generally it leads to stereotype. What is called stereotype? Stereotype you studied in the previous classes. Stereotype means, take for example Adivasi. The moment when I say Adivasi, what picture comes to your brain? Definitely a person with a dark color, wearing leaves or wearing different headgears and all those things and doing dances. Why? Because most of the movies or serials or any public media, we seen Adivasis portrayed, shown like that. So the moment the word Adivasi, a stereotypic thought, pre-assumption, stereotype thought comes to your brain. So when we have prejudice and stereotype over the religious communities, then definitely it leads to thinking that one's own religion is better than others' religion. So superior over one's own religion. That means if I belong to a particular religion, I feel that whatever the religious practice I am doing, that is perfect. Take for example, in 10th century, 12th century and those medieval Indian period, sati system was prevalent in Indian Hinduism or in India. People of those days, they felt that sati system is correct. But if you take that practice in today's context, that is definitely not correct because nobody is allowed to kill themselves. Committing suicide is an offense according to IPC, Indian Penal Code. So that is what we say. Whenever religion is involved in politics, it leads to prejudice and stereotypic behaviors or beliefs. Second, a communal mind is often leads to the quest for political dominance of one's own religion. The moment I say my religion is superior, imagine I am a political party leader. When I am a political party leader, if I am saying that my religion is superior, I always wish what all MPs and MLAs, rather majority of MP and MLA should belong to my religion. That is what we say. A communal mind often leads to the quest demand for political dominance of one's own religion. So they expect that people belongs to their religion should contest and win the election. That is, once they started thinking that, that is not good for the country, because in India or in any democratic countries for that matter, elections are not contested on the basis of religious lines. Third, political mobilization on religious lines is another frequent form of communalism. The moment you feel that my religion is superior, the moment you feel my religious party member should be there in power, what is the next action which the person has to take? He will mobilize. He will bring people together on the basis of religious lines. That means he said, if you belongs to this caste, if you belongs to this religion, please vote for us because your religion is under threat. If you vote for us, we will save your religion. The political mobilization on the basis of religion is very, very dangerous to the country, because here people are divided, fragmented, distributed on the basis of religious lines. Fourth, this involves use of sacred symbols, religious leaders, emotional appeal and playing fear in order to bring the followers of one religion in the political arena. What is the next thing which they say? That they use some of the symbols, sacred symbols. Take for example, if during the time of elections, if somebody used the symbol of a political religious temple or a secret symbol which we showed, that is Om, or the half crescent moon, or any kind of religious symbols, if it is used by the political parties during the election, that means you are trying to get the emotions of the people on the basis of religious symbols. That is wrong. That is using of symbols. And not only that, the religious leaders, they emotionally appeal. For example, we have enough examples to quote where religious leaders appeal that if you belong to this religion, if you really belongs to this caste, you please vote for us, because if you vote for other religion, then you are not safe. The moment it is told that you are not safe if you vote for other religious group, that means you are controlling his brain through emotions. What is the emotion is? Emotion is nothing but your blackmailing that only I am the savior or protector of you. That is also wrong. So this brings religious different pictures in a political arena. That is what another major thing. Okay. Okay. So we studied about how communalism takes place in a systematic way by the political parties. Try to understand. If a political party want to bring religion into politics, what they will do? First thing what they will do, they highlight their religion as superior religion. Once they highlighted their religion as a superior religion, they use the same religious symbols in the parties. When they use same religious symbols in the parties, people belongs to that religion think that, oh, this party is a party which protects our religion. Once people feel that this party protects our religion, mobilization, people come together, mobilization takes place. Once the mobilization takes place on the basis of religion, definitely it leads to several other problems that parties stamped that this party supports this religion, this party supports another religion. The stamping of parties on the religion is not good for a country like India, which is definitely an asylum or a place where several religious practices are found. Let us move to the next major topic. We discussed about communalism, we discussed about religion. Now, when India got independence, there was a hot debate related to Indian state. Indian state means, should India consider any religion as an official state? Or should India give importance to all the religions? There was a huge discussion. There was a lot of discussion about that. Kudos or salute to the constitution makers. Why? Because Dr. Rajendra Prasad and Dr. Ambedkar and several other members who were the members of Constituent Assembly and Drafting Committee, they consciously made India as a secular country. Secular. Jatyatita. What is secular? Secular country means a country which don't consider any religion as official. Rather, every religion treated equal in a secular country. That is what we say India is a secular country. So India is a secular country. Let us study how secularism is practiced in India. How secularism is practiced in India. Point number 1. Constitution of India adopted India as a secular state by giving equal importance to all the religious groups. Jains, Buddhists, Parsi, Sikh, Islam, Christianity or Hindus. Percentage of Hindu is 79 to 80% of population in India are Hindus. 1% or less than 1% population is Jains. But Jains, Buddhists, Parsi, Sikh, Islam, Christianity, all are given equal importance irrespective of their number. Irrespective of their number. That is what we speak about. All religious groups are given equal importance by the government. That is a wonderful step taken by the constitution makers. Imagine if constitution makers would have not taken this step, definitely there will be huge chaos in India. So wonderful step taken by the constitution makers that all religions are given equal importance in the constitution. That leads to the secular state. Second, there is no official religion in Indian state. What do you mean by official religion? Take for example, previously Nepal was considered as a Hindu state. Now they are trying to change the constitution. Several Islamic countries of Central Asian countries, they officially declared Islam as religion. Since in Saudi Arabia, till recently there were no church or there were no temples, because the reason is that constructing a temple or a temple or a church in this country was not accepted, because Islam is an official religion in these countries. So in India we don't have any official religion. There is no official religion in India. Unlike the status of Buddhism in Sri Lanka, which we studied in chapter 1. Sri Lanka officially declared Sinhalese and Buddhism is the official religion of Sri Lanka. Even in Pakistan Hindus are not given equal importance. So even in Pakistan, the importance is given to the Muslims. Hindus are the minorities in Pakistan, they are neglected. And we are seeing in the example of Northern Ireland or in the case of England. So many countries in the world give official status to the majority religion, but in India, status of official religion is not given to any religion. That is the beauty of India. That is what we say. There is no official religion in India. What is the third point? The right to freedom of religion. The Constitution of India provides to all the individuals and communities freedom to profess, practice and propagate any religion. What is the beauty of Indian Constitution is nothing but fundamental rights. Fundamental rights means those rights which cannot be taken by the government so easily. Fundamental rights. Under the fundamental rights of Indian Constitution, there is a wonderful right called right to freedom of religion. What freedom of religion gives to Indian citizens? Freedom of practice, freedom of professing, freedom of propagate. I can profess, I can practice, I can propagate any religion of my choice. What is the difference between these three? Profess means I may be born in a particular religious group and I may be following a particular religious group by birth. My religious practices inherited from my parents. What is practice? If I am going to temple, if I am doing some rituals, that is my practice of religion. If I am observing fast on Thursday, Friday or Monday, whatever it may be, or if I am regularly visiting temple, that is how I practice my religion. Propagate. I can speak about my religion. Means I can speak about my religion, I can appreciate, I can educate people about my religion, but very important, I should not speak and propagate a religion in such a way that it may hurt the sentiment of other religion. Otherwise, we have profess, practice and propagate any religion. That is what you may be seen in the temples or churches or in the mosque. In mosque, you can see the Maulavi is giving speeches about the religion. In church every Sunday you can see church father is speaking about his religion. In temples we can see lot of on the festival days there will be lot of religious speeches related to it. That is what we say propagation. Practice of festivals and all those things. So wonderful. If I am born in a particular religion, no need that I have to be in the religion. I can change my religion, I can adopt a new religion, or without adopting religion also I can practice that religion. It's very free. Means I can visit mosque, I can visit church, I can visit dargah, synagogues, I can visit even temples also, which is my choice. That is what, if it is permitted by them, then you can practice, visit and speak about any religion. That is the beauty of Indian religious practices. That is what we speak about, the right to freedom of religion. Fourth, the Constitution prohibits discrimination on the basis of religion. Very important here what we have to understand that in India, religious duties are not compulsory. Means, if you are not visiting temple pujari cannot come and put penalty on you. It's not compulsory. Church father or Maulavi of a mosque cannot take action because you are not going to mosque or a church. It is not compulsory to do the religious duties. It is not compulsory to contribute to the temple, church and mosque in India. It is not compulsory. You cannot say this religion is less superior, this religion is more superior. No discrimination on the basis of religious grounds. For example, yesterday our great Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced the free ration for all. While announcing this free ration for all, he did not discriminate on the religious ground. Whenever the government passes any law, it is not discriminated on religious line. It is given to all. So this is what another major point which we are going to study. There is no discrimination on the basis of religion. Fifth, government enjoys power to intervene in the matters of religion in order to maintain equality. For example, ban of untouchability and triple ban. There is a slight difference between third and fourth point. What fourth point says that? I explained you, in India there is no official religion. I explained you, in India government gives equal importance to all the religion. But here very important what you have to understand that. Don't think government is silent on the religious issues. In India it is very clearly said that, Constitution very clearly says that government will not interfere in the religious activities unless and until any religious activity disturb the social order. I repeat, government will not interfere in religious activities unless and until any religious activity disturb the social order. That means if a religious activity disturbs the social order, government actively intervenes. That is what we see. Government intervenes in the matters of religion. We have seen a lot of examples in India where animal sacrifice is banned in many places. As a part of religious practice, animals are killed, but it is banned in many places. In Hinduism, we used to practice untouchability in the past. That people belongs to the lower caste were treated as untouchables. Now, if someone is practicing untouchability, Article 17, right to equality, under that untouchability is prohibited. It is a punishable offense. So, untouchability was a practice in Hinduism. Government interfered it. After interfering, government banned the practice of untouchability. That is what we say. Whenever there are some practices, government will interfere. One more example we are seeing. In Islam, there was a practice called triple talaq. If 3 times talaq, talaq, talaq is told, it is divorce is given to the female in Islam. But now the government is interfered in that because of the cases filed in the Supreme Court and all. Now government banned triple talaq. According to that, now triple talaq is not legal in India. So what I mean to say, if you go on searching, you will get a lot of examples. Like when there was a dispute over Babri Masjid, government interfered on that, Supreme Court interfered on that. As a result, Babri Masjid was kept as a disputed site for a long years, nearly 20 years, and recently the justice is delivered, and accordingly the land is partitioned and given to various stakeholders. That is what we say. Whenever religion is disturbing a social order, then government actually interfere in such issues. That is what the beauty of Indian Constitution. Indian Constitution appreciates the religious difference as long as you are not disturbing the social order. Okay. So with this, I will stop this class. What we studied here till now, that we studied about how communalism expressed in politics. How political leaders, please try to understand, whenever you watch leaders, political leaders speech, whenever you come across certain political parties, if you could find the party symbols belongs to a particular religion, if a person is speaking about a religion, that please try to understand that party is a communal party which is trying to gather, mobilize people on the basis of religion. We also studied what are the steps taken by the government of India to solve the problem of communalism in the constitution by adopting a secular state. So we studied what is a secular state, we studied what is the meaning of secularism in India. Homework for you is, please refer about communalism in Google. If you search, you will get communal violence in India, which I already explained to you. But please study, get information more about the communal violence like Godhra violence, Ayodhya disputes, Babri Masjid case, or very important, make a note of right to religion. What are the religious practice according to right to religions? Okay, so we'll see in the next class. Till then, take care. One more request to all cadets. All these points please note down in a notebook from the beginning. You see, by 2 weeks I will complete almost 4 chapters. So make sure that you write notes so that it is really helpful when you land in the school, because your class 10 board examinations are there in the year 2021. So please write down the notes. Go through my previous classes once again, which is there in YouTube. Go through the previous classes and write down all the notes, means all these points, so that it is easy for the understanding. Take care. Bye.